All right, today we're going to talk about this concept of is your martial arts training, longer or deeper? So, what does that mean? It's just a concept I kind of came up with. I was thinking the other day in a conversation with one of my students, and I said a lot of people try to their training and the reasons that they train are more length than depth. So what I mean by that is an example of long is like a lot of people want to gain rank. If they're in traditional martial arts, they want a black belt, and then they want a high ranking black belt, and they want to wear that black belt around and show that black belt off to tournaments and things like that. They want that recognition. Some people want to be a part of one of the best tournament teams. They want the prestige of being a member of one of the top MMA gyms or whatever it is. Any school, anything, they want that. And that's what I call long, their martial arts training is long. They're going for something that isn't deep necessarily. And instead of that, deep would be gaining knowledge. So they don't really care what team they're on. They don't really care what rank they are. They're not looking for people to admire their rank or what team they're on or anything like that. What they really care about is gaining knowledge, and that would be an example of depth versus length. Another one is length would be like gaining attention, gaining ego, letting your ego get bigger. Feeling like you're a bigger hot shot than you were before. That's the length. And if you're deep in your martial arts, you gain humility, you become more humble, and you help others. You might even teach others, and if you don't teach, at least teach by example, by the type of person you are. You make the world a better place, and you don't really care if anybody notices or not. And even when confronted by someone aggressive, you might even save them from themselves instead of feeding into their aggression or become violent back. You might even help them. So that's an example of depth versus length. Another one is length is concerned primarily with looking good. Wearing the best uniforms, wearing the best outfits. It's, looking good by hanging around with more popular people in the martial art or something like that. And depth isn't concerned with that. Depth is concerned with more being good and improving yourself and your technique and the type of person you're becoming. With length, people often become more aggressive. They want to win the tournament, so every time they don't get a point or something like that in point sparring, they become more aggressive. They're angry. They might even yell at the referee, and their coach does too. And often if it's kids, the parents do too. You'll see it in an MMA fight. Someone loses and they throw a big fit. They don't know why the fight was stopped, things like that. They become more aggressive. Or you see examples in professional MMA where people are more aggressive in the pre-fights and throwing things like that. So that's an example of length. They become more aggressive and they live with more fear. They're afraid something's going to be taken away from them. They're afraid other people are aggressive and going to come and get their things. They live with more fear. Whereas someone who trains for depth becomes less aggressive. They become more calm, but they also don't have any fear. They've found a settled place inside themselves where they can be content. And yet the good news is they don't have any fear either. And the last thing I'll say is that people who train for length focus on the outside of themselves. They're focusing on what other people think of them. They're focusing on the impression that they're giving to others, whereas people who train for depth, they're training for themselves and to improve themselves. And even if nobody else in the world existed, they would still continue to train to improve themselves. So that's my concept. Is your martial arts training for length or for depth? Think about it, and maybe you can change your approach with that in mind if you need to. And thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. And if you can like, share, and subscribe the channel, I would appreciate it. And we'll keep some videos coming out.